A father notices his son's bedroom is spotless, then finds an envelope. A father passing by his son's bedroom was astonished to see that his bed was nicely made and everything was picked up. Then he saw an envelope, propped up prominently on the pillow that was addressed to Dad. With the worst premonition, he opened the envelope with trembling hands and read the letter. Dear Dad, it is with great regret and sorrow that I'm writing you. I had to elope with my new girlfriend because I wanted to avoid a scene with Mom and you. I have been finding real passion with Stacy, and she is so nice. But I knew you would not approve of her because of all her piercings, tattoos, tight motorcycle clothes, and the fact that she is much older than I am. But it's not only the passion, Dad, she's pregnant. Stacy said that we will be very happy. She owns a trailer in the woods and has a stack of firewood for the whole winter. We share a dream of having many more children. Stacy has opened my eyes to the fact that marijuana doesn't really hurt anyone. We'll be growing it for ourselves and trading it with the other people who live nearby for cocaine and ecstasy. In the meantime, we will pray that science will find a cure for AIDS so Stacy can get better. She deserves it. Don't worry, Dad. I'm 15 and I know how to take care of myself. Someday I'm sure that we will be back to visit so that you can get to know your grandchildren. Love, your son John. P.S. Dad, none of the above is true. I'm over at Tommy's house. I just wanted to remind you that there are worse things in life than a report card that's in my center desk drawer. I love you. Call me when it's safe to come home. A little girl says to her mother, Mummy, when you were away at work a strange lady came around. Not now, says Mummy. Wait until Daddy gets home. So they wait until Daddy gets home, and then Mummy says, Now dear, what were you saying about Daddy and the strange lady? And Daddy starts to say something but Mummy says, You keep quiet, I'll be talking to my attorney in the morning. Carry on, dear. Well, says the little girl, Daddy told me to stay downstairs while they went upstairs, but I followed them without Daddy seeing me. And I saw them hugging and kissing at the top of the stairs. Then they went into your bedroom and shut the door, but I went up and looked through the keyhole. Clever girl, purrs Mummy. What could you see through the keyhole? I saw them hugging and kissing some more, and then they started to take each other's clothes off, and they carried on until they had nothing on, and then the lady got on the bed and Daddy got on top of her. Yes? Says Mummy. And then what happened? Then they did what you and Uncle Jack did when Daddy was in Vancouver last year. A newlywed farmer and his wife were visited by her mother, who immediately demanded an inspection of the place. While they were walking through the barn, the farmer's mule suddenly reared up and kicked the mother-in-law, who unfortunately passed away instantly. At the funeral service, the farmer stood near the casket and greeted folks as they walked by. The pastor noticed that whenever a woman would whisper something to the farmer, he would nod his head, yes, and say something. Whenever a man walked by and whispered to the farmer, he would shake his head, no, and mumble a reply. Curious, the pastor later asked the farmer what that was all about. The farmer replied, The women would say, What a terrible tragedy, and I would nod my head and say, Yes, it was. The men would ask, You want to sell that mule? And I would shake my head and say, Can't. It's all booked up for a year. A man with hearing problems crashed his car into an expensive car. The owner of the expensive car walks out of his house and says, Give me $10,000 or I'll beat the hell out of you. The man replies, Well, buddy, I don't have that much, but let me call my son, he trains dolphins. The man calls his son and right as he is about to talk, the owner of the expensive car yanks the phone out of his hand and says, So you train dolphins? Well, bring me $10,000 or I'll beat your dad. The son answers, Okay, give me 15 minutes and I'll be there. 15 minutes later the son pulls up with a jeep and out comes 10 men which start beating the owner of the car. Meanwhile, the son walks over to his father and says, Dad, I train seals, not dolphins. An engineer decides he wants to make some easy money. He thinks to himself, and he decides he's going to set up a medical center in an abandoned corner store. After all, he's an intelligent man, how hard could it be? He puts a large sign on the front, promising to cure any illness for $500, and if he can't, the patient gets $1,000. A brain surgeon is walking past and sees the sign. Laughing to himself, he decides to make some easy money by faking an illness and pretending to not be cured. He walks in and tells the engineer, "I've got a problem. For some reason, my taste has disappeared." The engineer says, "Nurse, bring me bottle number 273, and gives it to the surgeon to drink. The surgeon spits it out and exclaims, "Hey! This is pee. You're cured," says the engineer. $500, please. The next day, the surgeon goes back, wanting to make his money back. He says to the engineer, "For some reason, my memory is failing." The engineer says, "Nurse, bring me bottle number 273. "Of course," the surgeon says, "that's pee. I'm not drinking that. You're cured. $500, please." Finally, the surgeon goes back one last time, determined to make his money back. He tells the engineer that he can't see a thing. The engineer says, All right, I can't cure blindness. Here's your money." He hands the surgeon a $20 bill. "Hey! You said you'd give $1,000. You're cured. $500, please." Two women decide to make some money by betting on horse races. They come to the track and start thinking about which horse to bet upon. After all, they don't know much about the matter. Suddenly one says, "Woman 1, listen, I have an idea. What's your cup size?" Woman 2, C. Woman 1, and mine is D. That's 3 and 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. Let's bet on the horse number 7. So, they bet on the horse, and at the end, the announcer says, "Announcer, the winner is horse number 7. Both women are happy. They win a lot of money, so they split the profits and go home. Once they tell the story to the husbands, they decide to bet on the races as well. They, too, come to the track and start thinking which horse to bet upon. Then one of them says, "Husband 1, listen, I have an idea. How many times a night can you get it on with your wife?" Husband 2, 4. Husband 1, and me 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. Let's bet on the horse number 9. So, they bet on the horse, and at the end, the announcer says, "Announcer, the winner is horse number 2. Moral of the story, it pays off to be honest.